got breaking news. Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence is ruled out just minutes ago because of the right shoulder injury he sustained last week. The Jags have not clinched a playoff berth yet, and the Jags need to win this week and some help with the Texans and the Colts losing to clinch the South. Welcome into NFL Live. I'm Victoria Arlen. Ryan Clark is still getting situated here, but we got Dan Orlovsky in.
Just a new entrance he had.
That was a great entrance. No rush here. All right, we've got you literally, yeah. At least you weren't running this time. We're just letting you know. His mic's not on. Okay. Well, and then we've also got Mina Kimes and Marcus Spears joining us from afar. They're all ready. All right. Well, Dan, I think we're going to get back to that breaking news with Trevor Lawrence being out. What does that mean for the Jags?
I mean, this is an enormous loss. The Jaguars a month ago were the 1 seed in the AFC and trending towards being a team that we were all thinking, man, they got a chance to make a run coming off of last year and the way that they had started this year. And now with losing 4 straight and Trevor being out and really having to win their next 2 games, like this is huge for this football team that had such high expectations not long ago. And it's going to be paramount for Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, their head coach and offensive coordinator, to try and craft this plan around C.J. Beathard where maybe they could play a little bit better defense and maybe they could get their run game going a little bit with Tank Bigsby and ETN. And again, no Christian Kirk. Like this is a huge task for them, not only this weekend, but maybe in Week 18 as well.
A lot on the line. All right, RC, you're back. You're sitting. What do you think?
I mean, I think you look at this team, you go back to the Monday Night Football game against the Cincinnati Bengals. We were talking about this team possibly having an opportunity to be the #1 overall seed in the AFC. And a large part of why they haven't played well lately is Trevor Lawrence's play. And so now you lose your quarterback, compounded by some other injuries on the offensive side of the football, and they find themselves in a place where they can play their way out of the playoffs. And so this is sort of one of those at the exact or at the worst possible time sort of injuries into a player that you can't afford to lose.
And this is the first start he has missed as a player, so this is going to be a very interesting weekend indeed. Now let's keep it rolling, and we're going to head down to Dallas, where Lions coach Dan Campbell says that now is the perfect time to play the Cowboys. Now the Lions are fresh off of clinching the NFC North Division title, and they're celebrating by playing another playoff team, the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams have something to play for, while the Lions are battling to earn a top seed, and the Cowboys are a game behind the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East title race. Now, Jared Goff and the Lions will face a Cowboys defense that loves to play man coverage, using it at the highest rate in the NFL this season. But fortunately for Goff, he's got 17 touchdowns without a pick against man coverage this season with a 75 QBR. Comparatively, Goff has 10 touchdowns with 10 interceptions when teams throw zone at him and more than a 20-point QBR drop-off from the man to zone. Now, Mina, what's the most important thing for Goff and the Lions offense to have success against the Cowboys D?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of pressure on this offense to put up points because you do not want to fall behind to Dallas at home. And fortunately, though, for Detroit, I think they do have a couple matchup advantages or things that they're good at that allow them to exploit this Cowboys defense. Number one, and this is probably obvious after watching Tua Tagovailoa last week, Jared Goff has to throw that ball quickly. The best way to neutralize Micah Parsons, who's arguably the fastest pass rusher in the NFL, is to throw the ball before Micah Parsons has a chance to get there. When Jared Goff does quick game, meaning under 2.5 seconds, he's actually been second in the NFL in EPA per play, behind only Tua Tagovailoa. The other thing is something you saw a lot of there, which is Jahmyr Gibbs, who is their rookie running back, running off tackle outside. That is another area where Dallas is vulnerable, another area that Jahmyr Gibbs in this Lions offense is very good at attacking. I think if they can do both of those things, they can move the ball efficiently on offense and hopefully keep their defense from getting in trouble if they fall too far behind.
What I love about what Mina is saying is that these are the things you want to do on early downs versus the Dallas Cowboys. You don't want to allow them to be able to pin their ears back, especially at home, and have guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons rush the passer. So they have to be good on first and second down. Ben Johnson has to use that motion, get into the run game, get the football out of Jared Goff's hands extremely quickly. quickly into the hands of guys like Sam Laporta and also Amon-Ra St. Brown. When they play ahead of the sticks, this is a very difficult team to stop because that's when Ben Johnson dials up the shots out of play action. If you give Jared Goff an opportunity to be ahead of the sticks and to be able to see this man coverage with the motion, deep crossers, and all of the things that come off of the play action pass, I believe this is a team that can score points on the Dallas Cowboys.
Seeing the graphic of the man versus zone, it makes me think of how is Dallas defensively going to play against, you know, the bunches and the stacks that Detroit presents, because they do such a good job of stacking those receivers, meaning one guy at the line or on the line of scrimmage and another guy either directly or just offset behind him. And they do such a phenomenal job of creating a high-low, meaning one receiver deep and one receiver short, and Jared Goff just rips these in-breakers off of it. And so often, teams get confused with who's going to be the short guy, who's going to be the deep guy. And Jared does such a phenomenal job of the timing and the rhythm of this stuff. Mina's talking about getting the ball out quickly. RC's talking about being on early downs. They sometimes align in it. Sometimes they motion to it where they just create these high lows that defenders are so often running exactly away from where Jared Goff is trying to throw it. And I think this is going to be a huge challenge for Dallas defensively. If they're going to play their man coverage, how are they going to handle all the different stuff, RC? Because no team in football.
But if you watch this team, especially 20-20 in this last game until the last drive, the Dallas Cowboys were a too-high team.
You're saying against Miami?
Against Miami. Yeah. We watched the Dallas Cowboys play 2. We watched them play cover 4. There could be some of that implemented so these stacks and bunches don't bump them off in some of those man coverages.
Gotcha.
Now, Marcus, on the other side of the ball, how can the Cowboys offense find success against the Lions D?
Rushers.
Can't hear. There's Marcus.
What in the world is that? Was that a
There
dog?
was a
That's
dog.
Lenny.
Is that Lenny?
That's Lenny.
We had Lenny.
Hey,
Was
the
that
Lenny's
Dan?
Lenny
That
don't
was
like the
Dan.
Lions D either.
Lenny
That
is
was
just
Dan.
not a
It's
fan.
Friday. It's Friday. Look at the sign. Look at the sign. Dogs welcome, people tolerated. Right on cue, MK.
Right there.
To that point, though, I think Aaron Glenn has identified what we've talked about a large majority of the season about trying to generate pressure on the quarterback. And they would love to do it with 4. But against the Minnesota Vikings, when I went back and watched that game, it was really bringing guys out of the secondary. Brian Branch had a sack. They brought guys off the corner. Can you make them pay with the speed that you could edge out with Tony Pollard? Another guy in these type of games is Turpin. They've used him in big games to create speed matchups and get guys in space. So it's boom or bust, right? They made tremendous plays against Minnesota, forced turnovers. They got to the quarterback. They made Nick Mullins very uncomfortable. Dak has been really good against pressure this year. But what will the answer be from Mike McCarthy when Aaron Glenn does it? And the question on the other side is how comfortable will Aaron Glenn be in bringing those extra guys and maybe sacrificing some coverage on the back end, knowing that he could give up a big play on the outside and the perimeter?
I got a quick question for you. If Detroit is going to do that, which they've had success over the past couple games, early down pressures, Branch on CD inside, is that?
Yeah, I think Branch on CD is their best matchup. When you're looking at a player who covers the best or who understands his position the best on the back end, it's Brian Branch. It's all he's ever done, and he's been the guy that's been the biggest playmaker, both in the field and the run, but in man-to-man coverage.
All right, what about your picks in this one?
Well, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. And I think when you look at this team and the way that they've played at home and also Detroit and some of the matchup problems that they can cause offensively, I think Dak plays extremely well. And defensively, they find a way to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
I'm going Lions.
Did you just look at all of our picks and say you didn't want
I kind of did. I was kind of trying to say it, but also they have momentum, okay? They've won 3 of the last 4, so I'm going up. They have something to prove this year.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what.
I'm here for it.
Mo wasn't nothing but a big girl I went to high school with. I ain't tripping on none of that.